individuals opportunity to express an opinion on issues within the school committee's authority. While the committee and/or administrators will not typically respond during citizen queries, the chair, as presiding officer of the meeting, may choose to if she deems it expeditious. Further, should the chair believe that an issue falls outside the purview of the school committee, she may request that citizens direct it to the appropriate person or body so the matter is given proper consideration. Citizen queries is limited to 3 minutes per person and a total maximum of 15 minutes overall. So, with the only opportunity during this meeting for members of the public to comment. Are there any citizen queries? Okay, seeing none, so we will move on to the announcement from Dr. Blake.
Just
Super quick.
briefly for our select board member guests this evening, the microphones are not projecting in this room. They're for the audio for the streaming. So if you are going to be speaking, please make sure you have a microphone in front of you so that everybody can hear out in TV land. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. Jack, if you could read our district mission statement.
Ipswich Public Schools aspires to empower all students to be global citizens who are effective communicators, analytical problem solvers, and savvy consumers of information. We propose to do this through an emphasis on communication, critical thinking, creativity, self-management, perseverance, and collaboration. Students will be active partners in authentic learning, offering voice and choice and demonstrating competency.
If I may, Madam Chair, I'd just like to call the Select Board to order at, I guess, 7:03 p.m.
Beautiful. All right. Okay, next item is announcements and special acknowledgements. So we have the school committee is scheduled to meet on Wednesday. I'm sorry, yes, on Wednesday, February 4th and Thursday, February 5th at 7 p.m. here in the Middle High School Ensemble Room. And the Budget Subcommittee will meet remotely on Wednesday, January 28th at 6 p.m. I also want to share that we are opening up some seats on the Payne Grant Committee. So the school committee invites one elementary parent, a secondary parent, and an at-large community representative to fill 3 vacant positions on the Payne Grant Committee. The committee will meet in the coming months to review grant applications seeking funding through the FEFI's grant program and to make recommendations on grant awards to the school committee. Ipswich residents who are interested in serving are asked to complete the Payne Grant Committee member application, which will be included in our newsletter, and send it to me at 1 Lord Square in Ipswich, Mass., or you can send it to my email, which will also be in the newsletter on the district website. And applications are due on Thursday, February 10th, and the school committee will appoint members on Thursday, February 26th. Are there any other announcements or special acknowledgements?
This time.
No? Okay. Next item, we have a community presentation and overnight field trip requests from the racing team going to North Carolina, and we welcome Tim Sidmore.
These if you want to browse as I don't know how involved this was supposed to be or not, but I'm Tim Sidmore and I'm here to seek approval for the engineering projects class field trip to North Carolina, at which we will present our data and findings from our data-driven design study that the kids have been working on this whole year, and Jack's one of our participants in the class. And so the students have been tasked with reverse engineering a 1/10 scale car, and they study it over the course of the year and compete in an online points race through which they can qualify for a national competition. Last year we qualified, and our teams placed in various events across the board. 3rd place in our drag race, 7th place in a presentation, and in some other data gathering competitions we placed near the end of the pack. And typically there's between 25 and 30 schools there in attendance, some from China, Florida, California, another one from Massachusetts and New York, all over the country. So it's an exciting opportunity for them to take data that they've gathered all year about their cars, apply optimizations to the cars that they're building, and then compete with them in collaborative races with other teams from across the country, and to present data to judges in an environment where they're tested and challenged on their knowledge of various topics. So we fundraised this fall. We did a breaking fundraiser and raised $3,500. We've sought donations and sponsorships from local businesses, and we've raised $7,450. And I'm anticipating a minimum of $5,000 from student family fees. And if we fall short of our goal of $25,000, students will pay $500 instead of $200 to attend the trip. So last year we were able to run the trip, and I had 20 students go, and each student paid $200 to attend because of our fundraising and generous sponsorships from the community. Last year we had an IEF grant. This year we do not. And last year we also had partial pain grant funding. This year we do not. So we are a little behind where we were last year, but we're hopeful that we'll reach our goal and students won't have to pay more than half the sticker price, which is about $1,000 per student. Chaperones will include myself and Mr. Arnold, Michael Arnold, who teaches 3D printing, graphic design. And then we may ask one of the nurses to attend if need be for medical reasons for some of our students. It's required for district policy. That's pretty much it. If you're curious about how our trip aligns with some of the district vision or state frameworks, that's in my notes here. But for sure, students are asked to analyze and solve problems, foster collaboration between their own teams and teams from other districts, and then present to engineers and real-world professionals who do this for a living. So, and then they're obviously designing and solving problems, analyzing data, and studying. This year, sustainability is our theme. So we're studying how we can more sustainably capture renewable energy to charge our RC car batteries in a variety of ways. So that's our program in a nutshell.
A lot of really good real world application stuff we do in it. You know, from management to, you know,
Mechanical.
fundraising, mechanical stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the kids are broken up into 3 different groups within each class. So there's 2 teams, and I teach 2 sections. So there's 4 teams, 2 in each section. And there's students who are in charge of fundraising, marketing, and image. So they're the enterprise team. We have a mechanical and driving team. And then we have our creative side as well. So they do all of the graphic design and 3D printing and CAD drawing and stuff like that. Any questions?
I'm just looking, so it's 30 students with 2
So
chaperones.
we have 3 we will be required to have 3 chaperones. So 10 to 1 ratio is what we did last year. And that's what we're supposed to do, I believe, per district policy.
And we don't know who that is yet, and I'm sorry if
No,
you said
'cause I
that.
don't
I
have-
just see your name and,
Yep, I don't have
Michael,
confirmation on the number of students yet. So right now I have 2, Michael Arnold and I are definitely going. As soon as I know
exact numbers.
signups, exact numbers, I'll recruit 1 more chaperone. And it'll be a in-building person that'll go. Any other questions?
If I may. Thank you. Is there financial assistance available for students who may not be able to afford to go on this?
Yes. So last year, financial assistance was provided by Awesome Ipswich and IEF. This year, we built it into our budget so that should students need financial assistance, they can talk to Mr. Mitchell or myself, and we'll make sure we allocate funding for them to be able to attend. Yep.
I just had a question on the, where is it now? The number of school days students are expected to be absent.
0. So our trip
Oh,
takes place at
because
the end of
it's-
April vacation.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
So we
That
actually
makes
have a
sense.
conflict with the French trip.
Yeah.
So that's why our number, we should have 40 kids going, but a lot of them are involved in the France trip. So,
Right. That's great. And then the itinerary is packed full, which
yes.
is awesome. And what's the Sunday itinerary?
So Sunday, we usually stay a little longer than the competition for team bonding. So typically, last year we did a go-kart racing competition for team bonding exercise. So they get to apply their RC car driving skills in a realistic driving environment. It was really fun. So
Very cool.
we're hoping to do that again.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Sure.
All right. Is there a motion?
Yeah, I move to approve the engineering, what are we calling it? Engineering project racing teams trip during April 24th, 2026 to April 26th, 2026 to Charlotte, North Carolina.
Moved by Jen, Second. By Jenny. Further discussion? All in favor?
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks, Jack.
Next, we have a overnight field trip request. We're going to hear from the DECA program who's wishing to go to Boston, and we welcome Tate Shippen.
Hi, thank you for having me. Tate Shippen, I teach math here at the high school, and I also run the DECA program. We're in our second year this year, and we're very excited that we had 11 students qualify for states. Last year we only had 7, so we're improving. We've also doubled our numbers for the club. They worked really hard last year to fundraise, and I'm happy to say that through a Payne grant and through local fundraising and business sponsorships, we're able to offer this free of charge for the students that are going on this trip. At the conference, students compete in professional events. It includes activities such as role plays, case studies. They practice communication, critical thinking, real-world problem solving, and simulated workplace situations. They also participate in leadership workshops and network with peers and industry professionals. The experience directly supports college and career readiness. Students consistently return more confident, more motivated, more engaged in their learning. I'm hoping that you'll approve this, but I also wanted to just have them share a little bit about their experience last year.
Yeah, it's been a really awesome experience since the club started.
Step up to the microphone, please.
It's been a really great experience since I started in 10th grade when the club started itself. I've been able to attend both years, which was last year and then this upcoming year. And it's a huge opportunity for kids to practice their public speaking skills, their one-on-one interview skills, thinking on their fly, critical thinking, preparedness, being able to go into a close, uncomfortable potentially situation and come out of it a better person. And so for all the kids that went last year, I can tell myself and from others that they benefited hugely. There was a lot of people that came out of it, and this year qualified easily, being in the top 1 to 2 of their category, which out of 800 kids in districts is a huge improvement. And overall, qualifying for districts, for states, is a much higher level of competition. It's a different level of playing field, significantly better than districts. And once you get to states, the next level is going to be international conference. That is a very select, elite few kids, probably 10,000 people worldwide, which colleges look at very highly. They say that is a kid who knows what they're doing when it comes down to interview skills, when it comes down to critical thinking, when it comes down to business, or whatever field they chose in. There's plenty to go choose from. But it's a huge boost to college applications, it's a huge boost to the kids' individual skills, and it's a huge boost to our school overall.
So I attended last year, and going off what Nick said about how useful the skills you gain from this are, I mean, I've had several interviews for jobs, and I don't think I successfully would have gotten the job if it weren't for DECA, and I probably would not be up here talking to you guys if I hadn't gained the skills that I learned from last year. And going off on the college stuff as well, they have a lot of scholarship opportunities. In fact, when you first get to the states competition, they give you a sheet to fill out of your top, I think, 3 colleges. And if you place high enough in states, they'll contact those colleges, reach out to them, let them know that, hey, this person placed very highly. They show a lot of potential to be a leader and be successful in their future. And so that provides a lot of college opportunities for kids as well, and lots of scholarship opportunities. And again, like Nick said, colleges view this as program as very significant and impactful. So.
And similar to the racing program, it's really good real world application. Do a lot of really great stuff that's going to apply directly when we get out of high school. So it's a important thing.
If you have any questions, we're happy to answer.
I do have a question about the transportation. The students, are on their own for the transportation.
To and from, yeah.
To and from.
parents,
And
yep.
they have to go with is there any process needed for a student to go with another parent, or they just,
We
if
have
it's
a
during school
permission slip we
hours?
could use for that. And I also put on the form too that if a student wasn't able to get a ride with a parent, I'd be willing to drive them in my personal vehicle using a separate permission slip for that the school has.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Are no other questions? Is there a motion?
I move to support the DECA overnight field trip request on March 12th, 2026 to March 14th, 2026 to Boston.
Second.
Jen, second by Jenny. Further discussion? All in favor? Passed.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Doing all 3 trips.
Yeah, we're going to hear about the field trip requests from Model UN. Also, hoping to go to Boston, we welcome Brendan Caulfield.
All right, hello. My name is Brendan Caulfield. I'm a history teacher at the high school, and like you just said, I'm the Model UN advisor. We are going to be heading to Boston, hopefully, from March 20th to the 22nd for a simulated Model UN conference. It's something Ipswich has done for the last 10, 15 years. I've been the advisor the past 3 years, and traditionally what we do is instead of me telling you guys about it, I had these 4 create a presentation, so they're going to take it away here.
So the conference is run by Boston College and hosted by the Westin Copley Place Hotel in Boston. Last year, the conference hosted several hundred students all across the country, and Ipswich typically brings one of the largest and strongest delegations.
The conference begins Friday evening, and so students will depart to Boston on Friday afternoon. Mr. Caulfield has scheduled 2 buses to leave Ipswich High School at 11 a.m., and all students are required to be on the bus. Once we arrive in Boston, students will participate in a brief tour of the city before settling into the hotel prior to opening ceremonies. The opening ceremony starts at 6 p.m., after which students are assigned to their delegations and begin conference activities for the evening. All of Saturday, we just participate in the community sessions, and during which students will debate global issues and work collaboratively to develop solutions. And the conference concludes on Sunday with a closing ceremony around noon.
Students will return to Ipswich on Sunday afternoon on 2 buses, arriving at approximately 3 p.m. A total of 49 students will attend the conference, accompanied by 5 chaperones. These chaperones include Mr. Caulfield, Mr. Mitchell, Mr. Wood, Ms. Kavanaugh, and Ms. Elrott. The event allows students to practice public speaking in front of very large audiences, strengthen their critical thinking skills, and build connections with classmates while meeting peers from across the country.
Additionally, this conference serves as one of the culminating events of the Model UN year. In November, Ipswich partnered with Georgetown High School and hosted an independent conference, which was attended by over 100 students. The event allowed students to practice many of the skills that they will use in Boston. Eagle Monk, which is the conference in Boston, provides another opportunity for students to demonstrate and refine the skills that they developed throughout the year.
Thank you. Any questions?
No.
Seeing none. Okay, is there a motion?
I move to approve the Model UN trip to Boston from 3/20 to 3/22.
Moved by Jen.
Second.
Second by Jen. Further discussion? All in favor? None.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
I am just gonna take a second to get Perry on a call with us. Call me. Yep, we're trying to get Matt Perry, our school committee member, to participate remotely, but a little bit of a connection issue, so. He might be calling me. Oh, Matt, you there? Oh, hey. Okay. Say hi again and see if people can hear you. Yep. You hear Matt?
Yes.
Do you want his name? Do you want his
Matt, we're chuckling because you can't see us. I have a microphone tipped way down to the table, and the phone is resting on the table. So that's what we're chuckling about.
We are technological geniuses.
All right. Well, hang tight, Matt. We'll let you know when it's your turn to talk. So, we are now on to the agenda item where we are meeting with the the select board, to have a discussion about the school committee member appointment to fill the vacancy. So we're going to begin with a discussion between our two boards, and we'll alternate between a select board member and a school committee member, to discuss the role and the candidates, and with a goal to kind of narrow down who the front runner or front runners are before we get to the next item, which will be when we will entertain a motion. When we do get to that item, it'll be a roll call vote for our policy. Any questions? With Sarah?
Just to discuss the role, I think the next few months, the person will be kind of thrown into a dynamic time. It's budget time. You folks are in the middle of a school building project. So I think it's a time when this new committee member will kind of have to hit the ground running. So I think it would be important for someone to have, some previous committee experience, some awareness of how to collaborate, how to communicate well. I always think folks who kind of can have a reasonable approach to tackling big issues is a good candidate. So that's the type of person that I think is effective on a school committee or a select board. Someone who can have be open about new ideas, but they're going to have to hit the ground running because it's a busy time for them to join a busy committee. So, I guess I commend folks who are that we had so many interested applicants. I mean, it's a lot of people with a lot of good experiences. And, I hope, however this ends up tonight, that folks will, continue to want to participate and serve on other committees if they're not appointed tonight, because the fact that we have several folks who are really interested in serving is a really exciting opportunity that we don't often get. So I think it's a good problem to have tonight. But those are the types of characteristics that I think are important, particularly in this position right now at this time.
Asha? Chair?
We're talking about criteria or just specific candidates? How would you like
Either
to?
both, maybe both, if you feel ready to.
Let me start with the first part. I think the way I thought about hearing from the candidates and then reviewing their resumes and information that they sent, I think in particular about one, their experience, and then two, what expertise they bring. What specific areas add value to the responsibilities of the school committee? What would that person bring to this board, whether it's unique value or it complements something that we already have? And then I think for the school committee, think about how you would work with that person, what they would add, where would they be supportive, advance our thinking, where would they bring a different perspective, challenge us in a constructive way. And so I would say think about the candidates, or I am thinking about the candidates with that lens.
Be more specific. You want to be more specific?
No.
Sarah, want to be? You want to be more specific?
I thought we were. I'm sorry. I thought we were talking kind of generally what we were looking for in the role, and then we can talk more about.
Okay, that's fine. We'll go back. We'll do a second round. Okay, great. Love that.
Yeah, that's kind of what my thought was too.
Perfect. All right, Linda.
Thank you. So in addition to what we've already heard, it's important to me as a committee member as well as a resident who cares about our schools is to have somebody on the school committee who has an excitement and a priority to make sure that we maintain like a world-class school system. And as Sarah said, it's a very abbreviated term, and I would hope that whoever is appointed might consider running for election in the spring. I also would hope that they're going to look at the whole picture and be financially conservative and creative. We have a lot of we have a lot of projects townwide. So that's something that, in addition to the education piece, that they need to balance that. And again, it's important to have an open mind and willingness to collaborate and compromise sometimes to achieve the goals that the whole committee is trying to work towards.
Yes, I think it's all those things. I think it's important to be well-rounded professionally and to show previous volunteer work and to, because we have our hands in so many different types of issues. And I think having demonstrated that they've committed to our town and that they are someone that we feel that would be open-minded and that would come up with creative solutions with us is important.
So I guess one thing to mention, I think other members on my board feel similarly. We appreciate the opportunity to participate and comment and know there's a reason for this. At least again, I think others feel pretty deferential to the school committee to make this decision. This is the person you're going to have to work with, not we. So our opinions, I suppose, count, but yours matter more. I would say the things that just generally I would be looking for, or was thinking about with the candidates. One was, and maybe it comes with the nature of someone who would apply for such a position, that they demonstrate a real passion for public education. And ideally someone who has some awareness of the Ipswich educational model, which we've often talked about as building-based, although that's changed a bit over the years, student-centered, community-based. I'd like to think of it as teacher-based. So that's one differentiator. Sarah talked about, the need at the moment, which you're all painfully aware of, to do something about our facilities. So somebody who is committed to figuring that out, maybe not in their tenure, but at least advancing it while they are. And then the other one, which I regret that we didn't talk about with the candidates, just didn't have enough time for questions, is for candidates who have an appreciation for the unique opportunity we have with the Feffes Trust that nobody else has. And it seems to me people come out of the school committee, much as like we talked to a couple candidates to join the Feffes, it seems like required, almost like there ought to be an exam. There ought to be some test that you have to understand the history of that trust in order to qualify to sit in one of these or one of those seats. It's just too important now into the future to not know about it. So I didn't hear about that last one with the candidates, but we didn't prompt them for it either, so I don't really blame them. Anyway, that's what I'd be thinking about.
Sure. So this is my 4th year on school committee, and I'm on the budget subcommittee. And I guess my hope was, when this opened up, was that we'd get at least one person who really wanted to serve, and then we had 7, and then we had 5. So I will say that they were all very impressive. But my hope, after my experience on this committee and with budget subcommittee, that we had somebody with a very strong financial background, but also being able to apply that financial background to strategic plans and spending toward somewhat a philosophy of education, and to be student-focused. So I was happy to see that we had so many good candidates, but my top of my wish list was a solid financial background. Yeah.
My turn. It's good to go last. Not much I can really add. I think, people have said a lot of things that I would have said if I was earlier in the program here. I think certainly, the ability to hit the road running, is critical. It's a 4 or 5 month appointment, and at a very, very busy time of the year. So I think, that budgetary knowledge is truly important. I also think it's important that the person has a grasp and understanding that we are a town with two separate budgets, a school budget and a municipal budget. And it's good to understand both and the priorities of both, and certainly compromise, when the needs of one rise to the fore as opposed to another. I think that's really important. And I think, too, the universal understanding of the school system is important. Many of them spoke about sports and education as well as the social things that happen in the school. And I think that well-rounded, individual that has an appreciation of all the different aspects that occurs in these buildings is critical to the success of the whole program.
Matt?
Matt?
Yeah, I think everything that needs to be said has been said. I think everyone identified all the important pieces, so I don't have anything to add. Other than I also give thanks to those who wanted to serve. I think it was really refreshing to see that many people out, and especially people who are somewhat new to Ipswich, wanting to serve so quickly after moving here. I think that's wonderful, new perspectives. So,
All right, and then, yeah, I guess I'm pretty much echoing what everybody has said. I was so happy to see so many capable and enthusiastic candidates. It was really impressive. I was so happy with the interviews. Like you said, Charlie, it's going to be a really difficult decision for sure. But like many others have said, like it's a unique position. Like we could have waited and said, let's just wait till the election and have somebody vote in them. But we kind of said, let's get somebody in now going into budget season. So really looking for somebody who has that experience, like Jen said, with some budgets. I think sitting on a board, um, understanding group decision making and stuff like that will be really helpful to have somebody be able to come right in with that knowledge. Having knowledge of Ipswich, and there were a lot of newer people to Ipswich, which is great. And I think that's great to have those great perspectives. Again, with this unique experience, kind of understanding some historical context of where we are, how we got here. All I had to say. All right. Bring it back around. If we want to narrow it down, get a little more specific. Sarah, do you want to go first? If you don't, is there anybody who wants to go first?
Well, do you want to start on the school committee side?
I can go first.
Sasha? Okay.
Yeah, I'll say, to echo what many have said, I'd be happy to serve with anybody that applied, particularly encouraging, especially with as many other subcommittees and boards as we have openings. Hopefully, if they're not selected, they continue to apply. I think that being said, the one that stands out to me, what we've talked about a little bit here, is having to come in midterm and to engage, particularly where we are financially, or like going through the finances and setting the budget. I think Andrew Bonnell, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, is the one that stands out to me, just having had experience on boards before and sharing, and to be able to come in on day one, not necessarily on a school committee, but to be able to show up and understand the rhythm of it, necessary prep, the subcommittee, just the overall dynamics of it, to be able to come in and be as close to full speed on day one. He sort of stands out to me in that way.
So the one that, first of all, let me just say that I was impressed with all of the candidates. I thought they all brought something unique to the process, and they're all extraordinarily qualified. I thought the one that stood out for me was Paul Montanus, and I really appreciated the fact that number one, he has a wealth of experience in educational settings and budgeting and planning, as well as advocating for what's needed. He also talked about the whole student and what's important to educate the whole student, not just reading and science and math, but sports and the arts and all of that. I think that his experience and moving here to town in the last couple of years. He would bring a fresh perspective. He'd be objective, and he certainly has the knowledge to, jump in, I think, and work really hard for what we need.
Yes. So again, great bunch of candidates we have. So Ipswich is very lucky. The person that stands out to me is Jason Harlow. Jason has shown his commitment to the Ipswich Public Schools and its students by his volunteer work. 7 years volunteering on the board of Ipswich Youth Soccer. As a parent representative for the previous search committee for the elementary school principals. Jason believes that good governance consists of evidence-based decision-making with consistent policy and process. That's a quote. Jason also voiced his thanks to the PAIN process, the PAIN committee, and what that presents as an opportunity for Ipswich. For these reasons, Jason Harlow would be an excellent choice for the Ipswich School Committee.
Well, I guess I would sort of maybe narrow comments to two individuals. I could say three, but make it a little bit simpler. Three stood out a bit for me. Again, they were all interesting and all have a lot to contribute, whichever one you end up picking. I thought Andrew Bennell was interesting, certainly. I liked his answers. I liked his background, his thoughtfulness, and his response, his familiarity with Ipswich and the school system. So I thought he was interesting. I thought the guy sitting to his left, for me, stuck out even more, which was Paul Montanus. And I was interested in him, some of the reasons Linda cited. I thought he had some of the best perspective, or at least the best energy around sort of a commitment to an understanding of an appreciation, experience for education. It just came across, and I liked his energy. I like his background and resume. Seems like he would bring a lot in many ways to the committee, and it was sort of impressive that he seems to have come up to speed on not every issue in town, but many in a pretty short time that he's been here. So I think Andrew or Paul stood out. If I had to pick one, I would pick Paul.
Jen?
Huh. This is hard because there's positive attributes about all 5 people who presented. I think what I said earlier about, financial background and how it relates to working with a budget to then have an outcome that is ultimately student-focused. Jason stood out to explain that, I think, the best, and how he would link his experience in a private sector and budgets to he did say something about outcome measurements, and ultimately it's about the students, and I really liked that. I also appreciate Andrew and Paul. So this is super hard, but I'm gonna say Jason would be my first.
You should reserve Charlie. He's known to be the tiebreaker in these kinds of situations.
From Switzerland.
Well, I just want to add about Paul, who is so dynamic and so interesting and had experience that nobody can match. I hope that Ipswich I hope somewhere in Ipswich, Paul has a role. If he is not on the school committee, that he is just so dynamic and interesting, and like nothing I've ever heard before. And to-
Well, once again, like everyone else, I certainly thought there was a wealth of talent, that presented themselves, and I think we were fortunate. It makes that decision a lot more difficult as a result of that, unfortunately. But two people really stood out with me was Andrew Bennell and also Paul Mantos. I think both have a wealth of experience. Obviously Andrew in government settings and committee settings. Uh, Paul was certainly dynamic, wealth of experience in education, as well as other issues. I think strong budgetary, considerations. I also like the fact that he was, interested in weaving grants into the whole progress, as well as what's been stated about, the whole individual and looking, once again at, not just classroom education, but, life experience education as well. So I do hope that, I hope that every one of them stays involved, and I couldn't agree more. Paul is a dynamic person who, brings a lot to the table, a lot of experience, a lot of enthusiasm, and certainly a wealth of knowledge.
Matt?
Sarah.
Or
oh,
Sarah?
Matt first, then Sarah. Oh, yeah. Okay, Matt, go ahead.
Yeah, I echo the sentiments of several others on both these committees. A lot of wonderful things from a lot of them. The two that stood out for me as well were Andrew and Paul, Andrew Burnell and Paul Mantanis. I liked both of their backgrounds. I liked the things that said, and to many points, whoever gets is going to have to hit the ground running. Not going to have a whole lot of time to catch up. So I think those two candidates for me were the ones that displayed the necessary sort of CV, I think, in order to make that happen.
Sure.
Sarah, go ahead.
So I think I'd echo a lot of the comments here. I really want all the candidates to consider, continuing service and continuing their work for the town. I think there's a role for all of them, and I hope they will consider that. There's some stiff competition here tonight. I'd like to echo the group. I think Andrew and Jason kind of percolated to the top for me. I think either was kind of moved by Andrew's experience, and then Jason's conversation about process. He spoke a lot about process, the process of his work, structured decision making, and I think his idea of focusing on outcomes leads me to think his kind of problem solving skills and the way he thinks and tackles issues seemed very deliberate and purposeful, which I appreciated. I think Andrew has really good capital and budget experience that he talked about. A lot of public service on committee work, doing some, kind of boots on the ground work, ready to go. So, and Paul had a lot of energy and also a lot of experience both in education and budget. I think we would be well served by any of those candidates. So that's what I think.
So hard. My opinions are, again, what everybody else said. I think Andrew and Jason stood out to me. They've talked a lot about the committees they have both served on. Andrew's been, he has served in a town government setting, which I do think, like Sasha said, is super helpful. Trying to figure out if we can narrow it down from what was said.
If you look at this.
So I guess we heard, I think there, we've got 3 that we've narrowed down. It looks like,
Madam Chair, if I may, I did talk to the town manager about the voting process, and one of the suggestions that he has, and I don't mean to put words in his mouth, but he suggested that perhaps everyone could be nominated that came that night, and then would vote, and the person who got the least number of votes would fall off, and then, the other 5 would be nominated and once again would vote, with the bottom vote getting off, and then, so on and so forth until we get to consensus, of one person. Just an idea. I don't know, do you want to add anything to that, Tom, or?
I'm sorry, I'll go to the chair.
Yep.
Okay. I'll accept that.
Or just, you
Mike,
can
get the mic.
microphone.
Thank you.
Key.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In some places where you've had multiple candidates on a mutual board or even, not even a mutual board, is you've put into nomination all the candidates, and then you take the vote. And if you don't reach a majority on the first round of votes, the lowest one drops off, and then you revote until you reach someone who gains a majority. It's very similar to if you were going to a Republican or Democratic National Convention where you have the first ballot, and then if you don't reach a majority in the first ballot, they either open it up that you're not obligated those candidates, or they'll drop off the candidate who has the least votes, and then you revote. That's another option you can do if the boards are split on how they wish to get to the final candidate.
a little confused about how we would do that procedurally.
I think my suggestion, if we're going to do that, is to focus on the 3 gentlemen who have been discussed this evening, and at least limit it to that and start there.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
your process.
So are we suggesting that somebody nominates one of those candidates and then we take a vote and see if we have a majority? And then if we have a majority, or we're talking about rank?
I think it's to have all 3 so we can all vote on
all 3.
All 3 instead of having one nomination thrown out there before another one. It's just an opportunity for everybody to have an opportunity to vote whoever their top is.
Can you vote twice?
Or you're
No.
ranking them. You're ranking them.
I think you just vote for your top pick.
Okay.
Yeah, so in other words, what you're suggesting is that we're voting to have the 3 finalists, if you will. Is that what you're?
Yes. Well, I'm just echoing the suggested processes. All 3 are nominated, and then we just read the names and go around saying, Andrew, and then whoever gets the
majority.
Yeah. Yes. Is that what you're suggesting?
We have to have a majority of the board as a whole.
Right.
So it's, if the vote is split and there's not a majority of the board, then the last person has
Yes, drops off.
until we get a majority of the board.
Yep.
And there's 10 people voting?
9 tonight.
9 people voting.
It's good.
So we have to have, 5 in favor of one candidate. If that happens on the first round, then that would be
You're all done.
That would be the candidate.
Yep.
Right.
The issue is that because you're voting for more than 2, you dilute the votes of the second, third, or fourth candidate. So if the majority voted for, if you had the majority vote for candidate A, Well, I'll be specific. You had 40% people vote for candidate A, and then 60% vote across candidate B and C. Candidate A is going to win. However, if it was only a choice of the two, people that voted for candidate B or C might have unified to vote for candidate B, and they would win. And so the three options dilute the chance for someone that might potentially win. The third candidate draws votes away from another candidate, which is the problem. Think about it in a presidential election, an independent candidate draws votes away from one of the others, you'd have the same issue here.
But if it's not a majority, then
And
that
if it's a
person drops off.
in that example, you could have someone could have 40% of the votes, and the other two people could have 30 and 30.
Right, so we'd
But
have
all
to
of those
revote.
votes might go towards,
Mhm.
no, it would still be the majority, 40% would be the majority. And so you'd still
Oh.
get,
Yeah.
I don't think
it
we could
dilutes
do
it,
it
is the
like
problem.
40, 30, 30.
You're saying the majority of the board, not majority of,
You know,
of
it's
the
gotta be
candidates?
5. Since there's 9 of us, it has to be 5 to vote. The law said, no, I didn't, I think I brought the law with
I
me.
understand what you're saying. Is your majority of the
people who can
people
vote.
voting, not the majority of the votes for
Right.
candidate?
Right.
Right.
So are we suggesting,
That would work.
Yeah.
What is it?
how does that work? Tell me how that works.
We would have 9 people voting.
For candidate number 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
You're choosing,
If any of the 3 candidates got 5 votes of the 9, that would be that would represent a majority, and then we'd be okay. If it was the majority of votes, not the
right, majority
not
of
just
votes.
the ranking of the 3 candidates, that would work if somebody got 5.
So we each go around and say who our top nominee is.
I'm just trying to think of how that
that's
works with the
almost
second
an
and
easier
third.
way
Yeah.
is to do kind of a straw poll, or if we want to get it down to 2, could have go who you could vote for 2 different people, and we see who gets the least votes. That's the third drops off.
Mhm.
I mean, I think it would be good to go around once in a straw poll. If you had several people who had 2 choices. So if they narrow to 1, that might make the decision for you.
Right.
And if it doesn't, then
Sure.
you can go to another round.
Yep.
So we're suggesting we're going to go around, everyone's going to announce their top vote.
Yeah.
Try that first.
Straw poll, not
Yeah.
official vote.
Straw poll, okay, thank you.
Okay.
This is so hard. You the math guy?
I can, but do it with me so I don't.
Should we just go around this way, just so it's easier?
All right.
Yes, I did.
Andrew,
Do we have time?
That's
9.
So it's 9.
9.
9.
9.
Second, Brian.
Confusing. I know. All right. Okay, so Sasha said Andrew.
Andrew.
Okay, Jason Harlow.
Jason Harlow.
Andrew. Paul.
Paul Montanus.
Paul.
Matt?
Paul.
Going with Andrew. Okay.
2. 4, 3, 2. 4, 3, 2, right?
We have 3 for Andrew,
Yeah.
4 for Paul, and 2 for Jason.
Majority.
So
Majority. So
Jenny and Jen,
Mm-hmm.
are you, how are you leaning between Andrew and Paul?
Paul.
Paul.
Is there any further discussion?
need a formal nomination?
Well, seeing if we'll move on. Is there any other discussion before we move to vote? Thinking or?
I would say think between now that we're down to the 2, which is good. think about their ability to do the job on day one, and then the fit within the school committee. Can you picture working with both of those people next week?
And I would say awareness, of what's going on in town, following what's going on in town. It's something important for me. Okay. Anybody else? Right, so we are moving on to our next agenda item, which is the school committee member.
You need a more formalized vote? Or is,
That's, yeah, we're moving. Matt, did you have
Matt,
anything
did you
else
have
to say?
anything else?
No.
Okay.
Okay. So, now move to entertain a motion.
I move to appoint Paul Montanus to the Ipswich School Committee.
Jenny?
Second.
Second by Jen. Further discussion?
you need to specify the term?
Up through May 2026, till the next election.
So moved by Jenny, second by Jen. Further discussion? Okay, we're going to go to a roll call vote. Sasha?
No.
Yay.
Yes.
No.
No. Yes.
Yes.
And yes.
Matt? Matt?
Matt?
Yes.
Right, so the motion passes. What did we have? 6-3. And Paul will be our new candidate filling the vacancy. And again, I just want to thank all the candidates for stepping up for this level of volunteerism, and hope to see everybody. Hey, girl. Good. Okay. And thank you again to the select board for
Thanks for
doing that.
having us.
Thank you very much.
I move the select board to adjourn.
Is there a second? Roll calls? Sarah?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
And I'm a yes.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Night.
All right, thank you very much. All right, Matt, are you gonna stay on with us, or are you going back to your meeting or wherever you were? Matt,
Yeah.
are you staying on with us, or are you leaving?
I think I'm catching about every 10 seconds, there's a 5-second delay. So it's a little bit of a painful way of doing this.
Okay. All right, good night, Matt.
All right, good night. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Okay, so now we are on to the review and potential vote to approve the 504 manual. We welcome Meg Finnegan, the Interim Director of Student Services.
Yeah, I guess we got enough room. Just grab one of those mics in case.
Good evening. I'm Meg Finnegan. I'm your Interim Director of Student Services. I was formerly your Program Manager for the high school for the past 10 years, and I've been in the district for 16 years, first as a school psychologist. I don't have any paint on me today. I made it a point to not be a technical theater director tonight. I've also been doing that for the past 16 years and working on a set design. I'm going to shamelessly plug that for a second. So we do have, we're part of the METG Guild, and we are participating in Trauma Fest this year. So I'm going to sidebar and just plug that. Come see us in February. So I'm here tonight, I think everyone got a copy of the 504 procedural manual. So Ipswich for years has done great work around 504s and the implementation of 504s, but we got some feedback from the state this year saying, hey, can you put this into a procedural manual? So that is what we have done. And we're hoping to get back to the state and say that you have had a chance to review it as a committee, and that I can answer any questions you have regarding it. For those who don't know, Section 504 came from the 1973 Rehabilitation Act for Americans with Disabilities. And it's to ensure that students have access to accommodations they need to be successful in their learning environment that are building specific. That can look like having preferential seating, extended time, access to an elevator. If you break your arm and you might need a scribe on the MCAS. The state says you don't need to have a 504 for that, but sometimes we find that it's helpful. So looking at how do we help our students be able to access the curriculum to the best of their abilities. I think everyone had a chance to review the manual. It's 25 pages, so I'm not going to go through the whole thing for you. But it does outline just the definitions, the roles, who to contact, some examples of physically major limiting activities, such as like reading, writing, sleeping, eating. I think math is in there, but just things that students may need supports with. It goes through the eligibility process, evaluation process, annual reviews, confidentiality, student records. Is there anything, I could keep talking about this forever. I do love the work that I do. Is there any questions that anybody had regarding the manual that have been put together? I will say it was not done in isolation. I started this work with Dr. Oxford and then picked that up and carried it along with representatives from all 4 buildings. And it's been looked over thoroughly by the administrative team as well as representatives from the school counseling department. I do apologize, I talk fast. I haven't been able to shake that from me.
Sorry if I missed this. How often is it going to be updated?
The manual? Manual is a living document. So as things change in it, we can change it. It lives in a Google Doc. The hope is that once it gets approval, we will put it up on the website effective next week, as well as with the parent and student procedural safeguards and rights. So if something comes up, if something shifts or changes, or we come back and say like, oh, that's not working the way we thought it should work. I always say it's, dates me because it's obviously a digital age, but like it's written on paper, paper burns. We can revise as things shift and change and we look at the needs.
Awesome.
As long as it continues to follow with the legal rules and the legislation put out through civil rights.
Yeah, it has names in it, which is super helpful, but I was just thinking if anybody like shifted positions or something.
Case in point,
Yeah.
we started it with Dr. Oxford, and in this process of needing to review it, we shifted and my name popped in. If somebody were to leave or change roles, we can take that document, change it, and update it so it is always the most up to date with the people that families need to reach out to.
Awesome. And then I have one other question, and it talks about that there'll be an annual training.
Yep.
And I'm just wondering, like, is that an hour long? Is that a day long? And depending on that answer, would it occur during like one of the scheduled PD days, or when is that training happening?
So we just did a training with our legal team to go over everything that they need to know with 504s for all of the admin team and anybody who is a 504 building coordinator. We are also looking at moving forward, having a training built in more explicitly next year, potentially during a PD day or maybe on a Thursday for all general education staff, special education staff, RBTs, paraeducators. If you are a person in the building and you are student facing, you should be trained on 504s. So the other thing to know is at the beginning of every year, we go through mandated training. Part of the mandated training that is put forward in Frontline includes a brief understanding of like how to review Section 504, ask questions, and go through it.
Great. I have just a suggestion, contact information.
Yep.
For people to be able to reach out to
you know, the chair or, you know, just a suggestion, is that in here?
It is built in here. It
Okay.
has, every building has the first person that you would go to is the assistant principal, so that all the assistant principals are listed in the manual. And then at the middle school and the high school, we also have the school counselors who typically oversee the 504s for the students. So their information is all in there as well. And when we put it up on the website, we can also flesh that out a little bit more explicitly so that people understand who to go to. But the first stop, if you don't already have a 504, would be to contact your assistant principal or your school counselor regarding initiating the request and what that looks like.
Thank you.
I have a question. How often are 504s like, like a student? How often are they evaluated? Every year? Like, do people come off their
So-
504s?
You can, yeah. So it goes through an annual review process. And then best practice is that we try and evaluate a student every 3 years, similar to that of IDEA and special ed. The evaluation process can look different. It can include standardized testing, but it should always include like feedback from classroom teachers, parent input, student input if age appropriate, and then information from counselors and looking at any pertinent medical information depending on the student's needs.
Questions? All right, is there a motion to approve the 504 manual as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Jenny, second by Jen. Discussion? All in favor?
All right.
Nice work.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I look forward to seeing you again during budget season.
Nice that you look
Fun
forward to
time.
that.
I'm a pretty easygoing person.
Thank you, Meg. So my report is in your folder this evening. I don't have a whole lot to report. We're into the throes of budget season, as it were. So a lot of the meetings that I've been having with the administrators have been around the development of the budget and the initial presentations that have taken place with Tom and I. I did meet with a parent who's interested in how we can update the weight room and cardio space here at the high school. We talked about the opportunity to write a pain grant, possibly for that funding. Rob Furtado continues to update me weekly with the status of our facilities. He's been very proactive around storm preparation, making sure that we're prepared and even on the weekends, this past with the holiday, we had some events here at the high school, and Sunday he was on the phone with me, making sure that I knew that he had everything all squared away for the buildings to open on Monday, so that, or this building in particular, to open for basketball. I participated in a webinar with the MASS Executive Board and other superintendents to discuss the new proposed graduation requirements that were in the report released by the governor back in December. Since the MCAS was taken off the table as a graduation requirement, there has been a lot of discussion at the state level around what accountability is going to look like.
Mhm.
And so there was a commission that issued their interim report back in December, and there's a lot of concerning pieces and recommendations that have come out of that. And so MASS is looking at it and trying to prioritize how to address some of those issues and concerns so that they're heard. For example, one of the things is that one of the mandatory requirements for graduation is that every student fills out the FAFSA. And so there's concerns around privacy, there's concerns about financial data, there's concerns about where that information is going and the need for it. Not every student is going off to college, so why do they need to fill out a FAFSA? And that's just one example. There's also concerns about end of course assessments that are not locally developed, that are developed and administered by the state and scored by the state. So it's almost like MCAS 2.0, right? So there's a number of concerns that we're addressing. Not that they're in effect or ready to go into effect. It's more at the discussion level, and they're taking feedback on it. So we're trying to work collectively to organize around that, and make sure that our voices are heard. I met with Dr. Lukey to discuss her ongoing mentoring of the two new assistant principals and Adam as part of their certification process. They have to be mentored by a certified principal at that level. And that's been the case for since ed reform. So all of our principals have been mentored appropriately. Mutual concerns met last week. I'm sure Jenny will be reporting on that shortly. Budget subcommittee and communications subcommittee also met. School building committee met last week, and we reviewed the information that we had submitted to the MSBA regarding the enrollment study. And we also had talked at length about the methodology that MSBA uses for their enrollment study. And we actually have we're in the midst of scheduling a follow-up call with them before the end of the month. They gave us some dates and times to work from. I met with Keith and Amy Gregory regarding technology in the district. Our agenda this month focused on cybersecurity, documentation, and software purchases. And we also spent time talking about the upcoming budget, because technology is a good chunk of our budget. Crest Collaborative had their monthly board meeting this week. We took a closer look at their proposed budget for this coming year and the drivers that they're looking at. They're in a similar position as Ipswich. They're actually looking, I think they said, up around 25% increase for their healthcare insurance. So I think it's across the board that districts and collaboratives are seeing these huge increases in healthcare costs. I met with Alicia Thomas and Scott Ames yesterday for our monthly IEA meeting. Diana and I had the privilege of participating in the Doyon Fries meeting for the Wellness Committee last night. That was on Zoom. We participated as part of the Wellness Committee, and our purpose there was to explain the policy and then be able to take any feedback that the parents and teachers had who were at the meeting, as well as answer any questions that they had. And I think there was probably 15, 18 people on the call. So I think it was a productive meeting. And then finally, this morning, I should say, I attended the MASS Midwinter Conference in Marlborough. The keynote speaker for the morning was former Secretary of Education Miguel Cardona. He talked about leadership in public education and the importance of forming alliances to protect the common good that is public education. So it was an uplifting conversation with him. He took some questions, shared some of his background and his upbringing, being an immigrant to the country, or his parents being immigrants to the country from Puerto Rico. So it was a great morning, and then I got back this afternoon. And then the last thing I wanted to mention was, over the last few weeks, there's been questions raised about the process for identifying the permanent principal for Winthrop. As you know, Dr. Lukey was joined us last summer as an interim. I've discussed the fact that the community is expecting to do a search for the permanent position. I had said that I was going to be collecting feedback, but it seems that some of the feedback that I've received is that we should do a search, and my hope is that Maureen will be part of the candidate pool. Laura and I did review the past searches that we've done in the district, and have established a timeline for a search. We're proposing to get a posting out as soon as next week, conduct interviews in early March, and then have finalist visits the week of March 23rd, and then hopefully be able to offer the position by the end of March, so that it's early enough in the process, and it won't impact other things going on in the district. The search committee will be made up of the HR manager, 2 Winthrop parents, 2 Winthrop educators, 2 school committee members, Adam Mullen, the principal of the Paul F. Doyle Memorial School, and Aaron Clark, the assistant principal at the Winthrop School. So I think we have a posting and job description all ready to go. So we'll get that started next week.
Last time we talked about that coming to this board before a final decision is made. Would we see finalists? Would we see all candidates that applied? How would that work?
So that would be it would be the finalists, and I think we talked about having I don't have the document in front of me. We talked about the school committee having an opportunity to meet with the finalists during the visit, the week, the day that they're here for the visit.
And how would we discuss our thoughts on that? Was that executive session or?
There'll be written feedback that we that we take.
Okay.
Yep. Yep.
That's the feedback from both the interviewers, plus if we do any kind of meeting in terms of an actual decision. How do we discuss that?
So the decision is ultimately the superintendent's decision.
Last time we talked about, we discussed it here as a board though before a final offer was made.
Okay.
Yeah, so that it gets discussed here before a final decision was made so that the entire board could participate, not just the 2 school committee members.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yes. Yep.
So back to
so that it wouldn't be in a school committee meeting. It would be.
How would we be able to discuss it then?
I think we.
No, I don't know that you. Let me come back to that.
Thank you.
Would you consider as part of the process across the board, not just for this particular process, but some type of, how can I say it, visit or communication with districts that the candidates have worked in prior or are currently working in as they apply?
Yeah, I think in the past it's been, that's sort of been part of the reference check process as far as going to visit going to visit the candidate's current school. I don't know that we've done that. I know they do that for the superintendent. I don't know that of anybody that does that for principal positions. Something the committee could consider, but it's not typically done, and I'm not sure. I don't know the logistics of that and what that would look like, because it's not typically done for a principal position.
I feel like it would really help. I'm not sure, I understand what you're saying, but I do feel like there should be part of the process is that you as the hiring person go spend time or have one of the references be of, no, like just some time in the district where they currently work.
And this came up previously, I forget which meeting it was in. The context was not so much the visit, but the references, and that no one's putting anyone except for positive references on there. And so, yeah, it was the more of calling into the district to a couple people that were not specifically listed to get feedback.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's, I don't know, from an education, from a corporate perspective, extremely common, because why are you calling the person that's obviously going to recommend you? So it's done a little bit more broad. Maybe that's, or maybe that helps to accomplish, I think, what you're getting at.
Yeah.
Can that be part of the process?
Yes. Yeah.
I feel like we might have been in different situations in the past had that been more part of the process.
Perhaps. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that suggestion.
And I'm not saying that just for this process. I think overall, if you're hiring an administrator, it's very important to go beyond the references.
Questions for Dr. Blake? All right. Subcommittee working group and liaison reports. Anything you want to comment on for budget, Sasha?
We met this week, we're going to meet again next week, and then we're back in front of the full school committee the first week of February. Consistent with what we talked about, a tri-board revenue or the funding from the town is down below what we had originally hoped for when we were doing our early budgeting. Things like healthcare, cost of busing are significant increases, just like they were last year. It puts us in a tough position where we'll have to make some hard choices on funding certain areas, or how far do we go into revolving accounts like we had to do last year. So think about some of the discussions we had last time. I think we're gonna have a lot of those again. We're in a tough place. None of it is strategic decisions. It's really just budget constraints.
Right. Communications.
Yeah, in the folder is the January newsletter. So as you peruse that, I'll highlight a couple things. Our regular update on the school building project. I just have highlighted, I got to confirm a date with Haley or Brian, unless you know the next meeting. Is it the 12th? I had that as a placeholder, but I wasn't sure the next school building committee meeting. We can come back to that. I just wanted to confirm that date. Payne Grant Committee, one of the things we've talked about quite a bit is how do we publicize these more? I know Jenny brought that up. So we're looking for applicants. Diana mentioned it, but reinforcing it here in the newsletter. A little blurb about budget planning. It's very similar to what we did last year and the year before. For the last 2 years, we've really tried to increase awareness for the public that we're going through the review process. Where can they see budget documents? When can they show up to hear about it? So including more of that here in the newsletter, including we're linking back to the timeline on the website. And then our usual roundup of activities, accomplishments. Some are placeholders because we covered them this evening. So you'll see things like the 504, field trips. And then it's a busy February. Any questions, comments, anything that's in there?
I just have a question about the updates from the elementary school building project. Is that, does the committee agree on what we provide? Is that?
We have to be incredibly vanilla about what we include here, so that we have to make sure we're not, but we have to make sure that it doesn't appear that we're advocating for any course of action.
Right.
And so this has to be very logistics focused. Here's where we are in the process. Here's when the next meeting is.
Right.
I know that the school building committee has talked about just general communications and engagement with the town.
Yeah.
So anything like that would go through them.
Okay.
We would be purely logistics. Did I understand your question correctly?
Yeah,
Okay.
no, that's good.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know if we were like speaking for them, but I think you're right. We're just saying this is where we are and what's happening next.
Right. And then I think once they really fully get communications going, we'd evaluate whether we want to continue something here. I think at least updates of here's when the meetings are is
Right.
helpful, but
Right.
we're doing this just as an interim.
Yeah, no, that's good because people come to us for
Sure.
these and we can redirect them, but
yeah.
Okay, good.
Anything else? Okay, a couple dates and links we'll confirm after this. This will go out Tuesday of next week, which is the 27th. Okay.
Mhm.
All right, excellent. Thank you.
Mutual concerns.
And I just go back to one thing with the pain grant being announced next Tuesday, the 27th, and then the deadline.
2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
That's good. Yes, mutual concerns. It was another great meeting. We had first compliments given to Rob Furtado's work on the buildings. So many people chimed in to echo that. So I want to say thanks to Rob. We talked about policy review and about how, the policy subcommittee reviews about 15 or so, depending, reviews policies per month, bring them back to the school committee for approval. And once they're approved, they go into effect. So it's important to communicate with the teachers and refresh them on the different policies in smaller bites. So every month the process that's being suggested, and I know we talked about it, Diana, providing the teachers with that batch of policies, whether they've been changed or not, just as a refresher, and then also noting changes and how that will look like. So, they thought that was a good idea and helpful because they are accountable for those policies. Next, we discussed the wellness policy again. And there seems to be, there was apparently a miscommunication between the wellness committee and the teachers about receiving an invitation to be on the committee. Yeah. But there's 8 teachers interested in being on the committee. So that's good news. Adding the teachers to, and these are obviously suggestions, but to where it says where the wellness committee consists of, have it, at least one, and it goes through the list, add a teacher to that. That's a suggestion. Because clearly there's 8 interested, that should be easy for me to say, not a problem, but because of their excitement to join. They mentioned consistency, and this is for us to know, but also for the wellness committee to know, but I think it's helpful for all of us. Consistency of food choices is important for implementing the wellness policy. And the example was offering ice cream at the high school and Rice Krispie treats, which we also talked about is does fit into the wellness policy, but perhaps it's not promoting healthy choices because they're still picking that, or they're still picking a Rice Krispie treat, which is different than the one at grocery store, but it's still, they don't know that. They're just saying, oh, I can have a Rice Krispie treat at school. So consistency. And the policy, it's suggested that the policy have a clarifying statement that food, which is part of the curriculum, is allowed. So those were the suggestions. And then the next meeting is Tuesday, March 3rd, 4 p.m., middle school, high school meeting room. So those are our thoughts. Yep.
Anybody else met? Not? Okay. Jack? School report?
Yeah. So, as you saw, we have a lot of field trips going on, a lot of good stuff happening at the high school. So, we get a lot of real-world application stuff, which I think is something that we do really well here in Ipswich. thing is we have midterms this week, so I will leave after this probably. But those are going well, almost done. Good amount of hope for snow day Monday. Maybe Tuesday too for safety.
Maybe
Tuesday too for safety.
Not push it,
Safety.
Jack.
Well, there's gonna be a lot of snow.
You'll get a shovel it to the school.
Yeah, let's start plowing it. Other than that, not a ton. I talked to the elementary school principals. I emailed them, and they're going to get back to me at some point this week about doing a survey with the elementary students. And I'm still waiting on Mr. Janolfi to do the one for the middle school, but I will share that once I have it. And besides that, not much else.
Jack?
Thank you.
Well, I think your constituents would be very happy with your performance tonight. Lobbying for the snow day and all your field trip participation.
Yeah.
A couple of months, but
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Plenty to say the next one. Guys, I'll give you a night off.
Yeah. All right, and so now we're on to discussion and potential vote to open school choice for the 26-27 school year. I don't have any information for this.
No, I think it was something that has been on past agendas to just have a discussion on whether or not the district wants to continue participating in the school choice program. It's not mandated that we have to participate, but we do have to let the state know. But that deadline isn't until June, May or June. But typically, there's in past years have been some conversation around whether or not we want to participate in school choice, and then I take that information from the school committee, and then we look closer at class sizes at the different levels, talk to the administrators, and see what their take is on opening seats. We typically open seats in certain grade levels based on the class sizes. In the last couple of years, the middle school and high school has decided that they did not want to open additional seats for school choice. But we have open seats at both of the elementaries in different grade levels.
Mm-hmm. My feeling on that is I think it's important to participate in school choice. If we're talking about an equitable education for all, it's not just for Ipswich. You know, we want to have provide an equitable education for students, and an opportunity for a student outside of Ipswich to be able to come in to our Ipswich school system from wherever they are that they feel would benefit from our great school system, I think is an equitable decision to keep them open, to open seats regardless of what age.
So I tend to talk about choice a lot. I do think it's important that we participate and that you and the administrators can hash out where you think the choice seats are in our district. But I don't think we should close it off. Do we need to vote?
I don't think at this point we need to necessarily need a vote. I mean, if we have it on here as a potential vote, but if the will of the committee is that we do continue to participate, then we'll need a formal vote, because at some point I'll be bringing forward what seats we want to open.
Ooh.
You know, you're looking at policy.
The policy says that by January 31st, the administration will determine the number of spaces in each school available to choice students. So I guess that can still be determined between now and then, but I don't see any other strict deadlines for us. So when,
Right.
yeah, we don't, so this will come back to us? Okay. All right. So, nothing further. All right, new business. Okay, vouchers and bills.
Any questions?
Nope. All right. Consent agenda. Let me pull it up. All right. Move to accept with gratitude a donation of $500 from B&G Building Materials Incorporated, aka Tedford's Building Materials of Ipswich, for the 2026 Racing Challenge trip to be deposited into the high school gift account for the exclusive use for the Racing Challenge program. Then move to accept a commission contribution of $785 from Geskus Studios and Yearbook Publishing of Seabrook, New Hampshire, to be deposited into the middle school gift account.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Moved by Jenny, second by Jen. Further discussion, all in favor? Okay, motion passes. Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
By Jenny, second by Jen, all in favor? Okay, adjourned at 8:38.
That's